Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to Survivor's Sanctuary with Susan. I'm really glad you're here. Today's episode is Boundaries Without Guilt, Teaching Your Body That It's Safe to Say No. This is episode number 6. Now, before we begin, I want to gently acknowledge that some of the topics shared on this podcast may resonate deeply, especially for those of you who are experiencing any form of domestic violence, emotional abuse, or unsafe relationships. I want to be clear that you are not responsible for another person's abusive behavior. And your safety, well, it always comes first. I am a Certified Somatic Trauma-Informed Coach. I am not a licensed mental health professional. And I want you to know that this podcast is here just to offer you some education, support, and guidance. As always, this is a space where nothing is required of you. You don't have to agree with everything. You don't have to change anything. Just listening is enough. But before we begin, I would like to at least take one gentle breath together. So breathe in slowly through your nose. And then exhale even slower through your mouth. Maybe letting your shoulders drop a little and even loosening your jaw a little. Now, if you've ever tried to set a boundary and immediately felt guilty and anxious or afraid of being rejected, welcome to the club. You're not bad at setting boundaries. Your nervous system learned that boundaries weren't safe. Today we're going to talk about why boundaries feel so uncomfortable after trauma, how they live in your body, and how to begin creating boundaries that feel supportive instead of terrifying. Now, in healthy relationships, boundaries are respected. Now, in abusive or emotionally unsafe environments, boundaries are punished. They're ignored or they're mocked. So the nervous system learns having needs equals danger. Over time, saying no becomes associated with conflict, withdrawal or rage, abandonment, not giving you any attention or affection. This is not a mindset problem. This is conditioning. Why? Well, because your body remembers. Boundaries are not just words, they are sensations. For many survivors, boundaries activate a sense in the body where there's tightening in the chest, maybe a lump in your throat, even shaking, and where you might feel like you go into freeze response and collapse and just shut down. This doesn't mean the boundary's wrong. What it means is that the nervous system hasn't yet learned that boundaries can coexist with safety. That learning happens through experience, not through force. Now, if we look at this through an internal family system perspective, there is often a part that says, if I say no, something bad might happen. And this part may rush to over-explain. It may be the one who apologizes all the time. It may backtrack. It may say yes after saying no. Now, you don't want to shame this part. Again, like with all parts, you want to become friends with this part and thank it. This part learned to keep you safe. Over time, as you begin your healing journey, you will learn different ways to teach this part new roles that will benefit you in positive ways. But I just want to open your mind a little bit to understand that we all have different parts, and I've been talking about that each week, and they all play a certain role. And just think of the part of you for a moment that does over-explain, that says sorry. Like, there's times, I'm sure, where you're saying sorry and you know in your heart, you're like, why am I even apologizing? I didn't do anything wrong, but you feel that need. This is that part who's trying to keep you from harm. Now, let's also do a little gentle practice together. If this feels uncomfortable, you can just simply listen. But if you're willing, let's just do a little somatic practice together by placing one hand on your body. And I want you to just place this hand wherever it feels good for you, wherever you feel supported. Now take in a slow, deep breath in through your nose and a longer exhale as you breathe out through your mouth. Now I want you to imagine a very small boundary, not a big one. Something simple like, I need a moment, or I'm not available right now. Notice what happens in your body when you think of saying that to someone that you know you have trouble with boundaries with. Just, I need a moment, I'm not available right now, I can't do this right now. Notice what you feel in your body. Where do you feel it? Now, there's no need to push past whatever sensation you're feeling. I just ask you to notice it. This is your nervous system learning. So take one more slow breath in through your nose. Exhale longer through your mouth. And just appreciate that moment where you got to see and feel and know where in your body you were feeling that when you feel the threat of setting a boundary. Now let's do a little emotional freedom technique tapping for boundary safety. Again, if it feels right, let's go ahead and start. But if not, just listen and take it in. So gently begin by tapping on your collarbone. And as you're tapping, I'd like you to repeat after me. Even though boundaries have felt unsafe in the past, I honor how my body learned to protect me. And I am open to learning that boundaries can bring safety now. And I am open to learning that boundaries can bring safety now. And just let that settle. Again, taking in a nice, slow, deep breath through your nose and a longer exhale through your mouth. Relaxing your hands. And as you do so, just imagine for a moment a gentle field around your body. Not a wall, not a barrier, just a sense of space. Your body within this space feels clear. It feels supported and intact. This is what an energetic boundary feels like. Nothing is forced. Nothing to defend, just presence. I want you to also understand that boundaries are not rejection. They are clarity. They allow relationships to be honest rather than resentful. And every time you honor your limits, you build self-trust. Not because others approve, but because your body feels respected. Now, in this episode, I'd like to introduce a little bit of NLP, which is Neuro-Linguistic Programming. At its heart, NLP helps us understand how the language we use, internally and externally, shapes our emotional responses and behaviors. When someone has experienced emotional abuse, their nervous system may have learned that saying no leads to conflict, rejection, or withdrawal of love. Over time, the body pairs the word no with danger. Through intentional language shifts and small somatic practices, we can begin to uncouple that association. We're not forcing confidence. We're teaching the brain and the body a new story that no can mean safety, self-respect, and self-trust. So let's try something simple. If you feel comfortable, please join me. I'd like you to think of a time when you wanted to say no, but you didn't. Notice what happens in your body as you imagine and think about that moment. Where do you feel the tightness, the contraction? Now gently pause that scene, like you're watching a movie. Just hit pause. And in your mind, imagine placing it on a small screen a few feet further away, making the image in your mind smaller and smaller. And then whatever sounds you were hearing, whatever words were being spoken, I want you to see a knob in your mind with a volume on it, and I want you to start turning that volume down. Turning it down lower and lower so you can't even understand what's being said. Now I also want you to dim the colors. Whatever colors you were seeing in this image, begin to turn them to black and white. Like a gray screen, just moving away, becoming tinier and tinier. The voices are so low you can't even understand them, and you can barely see it anymore. Allow your nervous system to feel a little distance between all of this. Now imagine a different version of you. In this version, you calmly say, "That doesn't work for me." I want you to notice your posture in that vision, your tone and your breath, your confidence. Just see that version of you clearly. Perhaps you look brighter, taller, more grounded. Go ahead and step into that body. Feel your feet on the floor. Feel your spine lengthen. And place a hand on your heart and say softly, "It is safe for me to say no. It is safe for me to say no. It is safe for me to say no." This is how we begin to rewire, not by force, but by pairing the word no with safety in the body. So there you have it. That's a little NLP. Now, if we want to talk a little bit about astrology and numerology for the week ahead, we've got the Aquarius new moon eclipse coming up that carries a powerful energy around liberation and truth and authentic self-expression. Aquarius invites us to detach from old conditioning and to see ourselves from a higher perspective, especially the patterns where we've abandoned our needs to keep the peace. Now, an eclipse amplifies what's been hidden. It brings unconscious boundary wounds into awareness so they can be released. But I want you to know that this is a supportive energy for those healing from any type of emotional abuse, because Aquarius reminds us that belonging does not require self-betrayal. Under this sky, setting boundaries is not a rejection, it's alignment. It's choosing integrity over approval and future freedom over familiar discomfort. In numerology, February is a 3, which is deeply connected to communication, expression, and reclaiming your voice. So for those who struggle with boundaries, this vibration supports speaking your truth gently and clearly. The number 3 reminds us that self-expression is not selfish, it's healing. Paired with the dynamic energy of the Chinese year of the fire horse, which symbolizes independence and courage and forward momentum, this becomes a powerful time to practice confident self-assertion. Fire horse energy does not ask for permission to exist. It moves boldly and authentically. And together, This month invites you to express your needs with clarity and to trust that honoring your boundaries fuels your freedom rather than threatening it. Now, for those of you who are people pleasers, who lean into the fawn response, holding a boundary can feel like almost unbearable. I mean, let's face it, we're helpers. That's me. Helpers, fixers, rescuers. When someone we love is struggling, especially if we're empathic, we feel their emotions as if they're our own. Breaking the boundary can bring temporary relief, like a quick exhale, but it often keeps the cycle alive. I like to think of it like putting a Band-Aid on, and we're just kind of keeping it there, but we're willing to rip it off whenever we feel like we want to get that relief because the Band-Aid's too tight. So setting a boundary, it has not been easy for me, I'll admit. There were times when I stayed strong for weeks, only to slip back into old patterns of rescuing. I had to face a hard truth. I had to really sit with myself. Deep down in my heart, I knew I wasn't helping, even though it appeared on the outside that I was helping. What I was doing a lot was enabling. And as painful as it was, I realized that love sometimes means stepping back and allowing someone to learn through their own experience, even if that means they have to fall, they have to break, they have to hit rock bottom while you sit there knowing the answer. But you can't always step in to help them. And when you set a boundary when they will come at you or they're not treating you correctly, and you give in because they're doing better or they're apologizing, but you know in your heart they're going to go back to it again within the next month or so, or even a few weeks or a few days for some of you. The cycle will continue to repeat until you make the change. You can never make someone else change. Only you have that power to change yourself. So by setting a boundary and holding it, you are, in a sense, creating that little bubble we talked about earlier, that's protective barrier around you. And while I said it can hurt, it can be hard watching them struggle, and even yourself struggling when you want to just give in because you know it's going to be easier. You might be angry and resentful inside, and that's not going to do you any good health-wise, because over the long term, it's going to start affecting your immune system and your body. So standing firm in who you are and setting that boundary is one of the most important things you can do for you and for them. I will admit, there were tears. There were moments I really wanted to give in, and I did at times. There's one particular time with a family member that was really, really, really challenging. And eventually, after many times of repeating the cycle, I held my ground, and I held that boundary as tight as I could. I prayed about it, I meditated on it, and I just held that boundary. And little by little, I began to watch that person find their footing. Boundaries aren't punishment, even though it can feel like that at times. They're an act of faith. An act of faith in yourself and in the other person's capacity to grow. If I can learn to hold those boundaries, even imperfectly, so can you. So can you. Now this week, I invite you to practice one thing. Choose one very small boundary. It might be resting when you're tired, not responding right away, or saying to someone, I'll think about it. And when you do that, I want you to notice how your body responds. And remind yourself, discomfort does not mean danger. Now, if boundaries are a major focus of your healing, and you'd like deeper support, I work with clients who are learning to set boundaries without guilt, without fear or self-abandonment, through trauma-informed somatic healing, some EFT, Reiki, hypnotherapy, intuitive guidance, and I even do personal guided meditations that are personalized for you. Now, my website is almost complete and will be published soon, but in the meantime, if you feel called to do so, please feel free to email me, and I'll put my email in the show notes below. And if you liked this video, I really hope that you will leave a comment, give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed yet, I sure hope you do. This does help me get this out to more people who are needing this information, and I am greatly appreciating all of you that do so. Now let's go to the guided meditation portion of this episode. Before we begin, I'd like you to find a comfortable position that feels supportive to your body, whether you're sitting down or lying down. Whatever feels safest today. This is your time. Now place your hand over your heart and your other hand over your belly or on your thighs or by your side. And if that feels too much, then just let your hands rest wherever they are comfortable, because you are in control. Now let's begin by taking a slow breath in through your nose and slowly and gently letting go through your mouth and exhaling long and slow. Again, another slow inhale through your nose and exhale. The longer exhale lets your nervous system and your vagus nerve know that you are not in any immediate danger and you can rest. You are safe in this moment. Notice the surface beneath you. Feel how your body is supported. If boundaries feel terrifying, your body may believe, if I say no, I will be abandoned. If I disappoint them, something bad might happen. If I hold my ground, I will lose love or safety. These beliefs were learned through experience. They are not flaws. Silently say in your mind, my fear makes sense. My fear makes sense. And let your body hear that and feel that. Now bring your attention to your chest. Notice any tightness, any pressure, or heaviness. Just notice it. Bring awareness to your throat. And notice if you feel constriction, the urge to swallow words, or a lump in your throat, or trouble talking and speaking, and a clenched jaw perhaps. Notice your hands, your legs, and your belly. Notice if you feel any shaking or freezing or impulse to flee or to please. When you think of setting a boundary, don't try to stop these sensations because they are survival responses. Either freeze or flight or fawn. Your body learned them to keep you safe. Now silently repeat these words after me. This is my nervous system, not danger. This is my nervous system, not danger. Now go ahead and bring to mind the part of you that feels guilt or shame for setting boundaries, or maybe even fear of setting boundaries. The part that wants to over-explain, to soften, to give in, to apologize. Sense where this part lives in your body. Now silently say to it, repeating these words in your mind, I see you. I see you. You're trying to protect me from rejection and harm. You learned that saying no came with consequences. Now let this part know, repeating these words in your mind. You don't have to disappear. You can step back while I lead. You're not getting rid of guilt by doing this. You are unburdening this part from having to play that role. Now go ahead and send loving energy to this part, thanking it for all the hard work it's done to keep you safe. Knowing it will always be there if you need it, but that you're working on a new role for this part, one that will be more positive and uplifting for you. Now gently begin to lengthen your spine in your mind. Just feel your spine relaxing and lengthening, expanding. Relaxing your shoulders down, letting your jaw relax and your neck muscles relax. Feeling a warmth going down your back. Taking in a slow inhale. Going deeper and deeper as you exhale again. Now imagine if there's any discomfort that's staying. Notice that it's not taking over your body. It's just lingering ever so gently. And you can silently repeat these words in your mind. I can feel safe. I can feel this and I can still be safe. I can feel this and still be safe. Begin to notice the sensation that you feel. It may intensify, and then it may soften, and then shift. So go ahead and silently repeat those words again and notice the body sensations as you do so. Repeating these words after me in your mind. I can feel this and still be safe. Notice where you feel it in your body. Notice if it feels like it gets a little tense, but then it softens and it begins to trust you and shift. This is your nervous system learning that discomfort does not equal danger. So let's teach the body a new response. Imagine a moment when you say no, and your body reacts. Perhaps your chest tightens, you get a lump in your throat, you have an urge to explain. Now imagine not fixing it. You breathe, you stay, you do not rush to make it better. Silently say these words in your mind. I am allowed to pause. I do not need to justify my boundary. Now feel your feet. Feel your breath. This is how your body learns safety. By surviving the moment without collapsing. Now, if it feels supportive, I'd like you to gently begin tapping on your collarbone. And as you're tapping, repeat these words after me. You can say them silently or out loud. Even though setting boundaries brings fear and guilt, I honor my body. Even though my nervous system panics, I am learning a new response. I can say no and remain connected to myself. My safety does not depend on their reaction. Now inhale through your nose, exhale slowly through your mouth, and just feel that sensation in your body as some of that tension dissolves even more. And you can stop the tapping whenever it's comfortable to do so. And gently rest your hands on your heart, your belly, or wherever they feel supported to do so. Now bring awareness to the fear of how the other person might respond. I'd like you to notice where this fear lives in your body. Does it have a color? Does it have a shape? Does it have a texture? Know that you are safe, and silently say these words in your mind. You can say them out loud if that feels more supportive for you too. Repeating after me. Their reaction is not a verdict on my worth. Their reaction is not a verdict on my self-worth. I can survive disapproval. I can survive disapproval. Now imagine their reaction staying outside your body, that you don't absorb it, and that your boundaries remain intact. Sit with that and let that land in your body safely. Now imagine yourself sitting calmly inside the discomfort for a moment, not pushing it away, not drowning in it, but just staying in it for a moment. This is the work. This is the healing. This is the rewiring. Silently repeating these words or speaking out loud. This feeling will pass. I am building trust with myself. Each time you stay, the fear loses power. Now imagine a steady, grounded energy filling your core. Not aggressive, not defensive. It's stable, it's rooted, it's self-respecting. This beautiful healing energy says, I choose myself. I do not abandon myself to keep peace. And with that, your body begins to associate boundaries with strength, not danger. Now let's take in one final slow breath in through your nose. And a long, steady breath out. Begin to feel the surface beneath you again. Begin to move your fingers and your toes, knowing that boundaries feel unsafe until the body learns otherwise, and you are teaching it moment by moment. Guilt is not a sign that you are wrong. It is a sign that you're changing, you're shifting. Know that you can return to this practice whenever fear arises when it comes to setting your boundaries. You are allowed to say no without explanation. You are allowed to stay whole, and your body is learning that right now. Before we close, notice that you honored yourself today. Begin to open your eyes and bring yourself back to the present time. I want you to know that you matter. You are important and you are worthy. And when you start taking the steps to move into a place that's more in alignment with who you are and who you want to be, that's when you'll really feel those words land for you. So next week, we will be talking about shame and self-blame, why trauma makes us turn against ourselves, and how to begin rebuilding self-compassion from the inside out. Until then, be gentle with yourself, my friend. Be kind to your nervous system, and please remember, take only what feels supportive for you, move at your own pace, and prioritize your safety above all else. You are allowed to protect yourself, and you are not alone. Boundaries are not something you do. They are something your body learns. Thank you for being here and sharing time with me at Survivor's Sanctuary with Susan. Have a wonderful week ahead. Love and hugs. Till next week. I'm really glad you're here.